Confidence is often misunderstood in our noisy world. Many believe it's about being the loudest voice in the room, the one who dominates every conversation, who seeks the spotlight and chases applause. But this is a myth, a shallow imitation of true self-assurance. Real confidence is not about volume or bravado. It is not about showing off, seeking validation, or proving your worth to others. In fact, the most powerful confidence is almost silent. It is a calm, steady force that radiates from within, commanding attention without ever demanding it. This kind of confidence is rare, and when you encounter it, you know. It's the quiet presence that makes people pause, the unspoken authority that draws respect, the unwavering composure that cannot be rattled by criticism, chaos, or rejection. The highest form of confidence is not found in those who react to every slight, who are provoked by every opinion, or who are controlled by the shifting tides of approval. Instead, it is found in those who remain unshaken, who are not easily provoked, and who refuse to be controlled by anything outside themselves. Most people go through life in a state of constant reaction, responding to criticism, rejection, chaos, and the opinions of others. Every reaction, every emotional outburst, every attempt to defend or explain oneself is a surrender of power. It is a silent admission that your sense of self is at the mercy of the world. But imagine a different way of living. Imagine moving through the world with a presence so steady, so composed, that nothing can shake you. Imagine being untouchable, not because you are cold or indifferent, but because you have mastered yourself. This is the essence of dangerous confidence. It cannot be faked, it cannot be borrowed, it must be built from within. In this book, you will learn the principles and practices that create this kind of confidence. You will discover how to silence self-doubt, control your emotions, detach from outcomes, and carry yourself with the authority of someone who needs nothing and fears nothing. This is not about pretending, this is about becoming. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and prepare to step into the strongest version of yourself. The habit of over-explanation. One of the fastest ways people drain their confidence is through a habit so common, so ingrained in our daily interactions, that most people never recognize it as a form of self-sabotage, constantly explaining themselves. Think about how many times you have found yourself in this position. Someone questions your decision, and instead of simply standing by it, you launch into a detailed justification. You are late to an appointment, and rather than offering a simple apology, you construct an elaborate narrative about traffic, your alarm, or how your phone died. Someone disagrees with you, and you feel compelled to defend every aspect of your position, word by word, until they understand and accept your logic. Each time you do this, you are sending a powerful, unconscious message to yourself and to others. I need your approval to feel secure. I need you to understand me to feel validated. My choices are not sufficient on their own. They require your endorsement. This pattern becomes so automatic that you do not even realize you are doing it. You have trained yourself to believe that your worth depends on others' comprehension and acceptance of your actions. This is a fundamental error in thinking that undermines your confidence at every turn. The more you explain, the more you reinforce this false belief. The more you justify, the more you convince yourself that justification is necessary. And the more you convince yourself of this necessity, the weaker your internal sense of certainty becomes. Your confidence erodes with every excuse, every elaboration, every desperate attempt to make someone else comfortable with your choices. The path to dangerous confidence begins with recognizing this pattern and deciding once and for all to break it.
How confident people operate differently. Confident people do not operate this way.
They do not live in a constant state of apology or justification. They do not scramble to prove themselves to everyone they encounter. Why? Because they understand a fundamental truth that most people never grasp. Their worth is not up for debate. It is not determined by whether others agree with them or understand their reasoning. It is not subject to the approval of colleagues, friends, family, or strangers. When you stop explaining yourself unnecessarily, you instantly project strength. Your words carry more weight because you are not using them to convince or cajole. Your presence commands more respect because it is clear that you are not seeking permission for your existence or your choices. Observe how truly confident people handle questions and challenges. They do not become defensive. They do not feel compelled to provide exhaustive answers. Instead, they respond with a calm clarity that leaves no room for debate. This is not coldness, it is certainty. This is not arrogance, it is self-knowledge. They know who they are, they know why they make the choices they make, and they do not need external validation to confirm these things. This approach is magnetic. People respect it even when they disagree. In fact, people often respect it more when they disagree because it demonstrates that the person is not dependent on consensus. They are not trying to win approval through persuasion. They are simply stating their position and moving forward. This quality is impossible to fake convincingly for any extended period. It must be genuine, and it must come from a place of authentic self-respect. The art of brevity and firmness. This does not mean becoming rude, dismissive, or arrogant. This is not about closing yourself off from dialogue or refusing to engage with legitimate questions. Rather, it is about knowing when to keep your response short, clear, and firm. Instead of crafting elaborate justifications for every move you make, you learn to stand by your choices with quiet certainty. When someone asks why you are doing something, you do not need to provide a full essay or a comprehensive explanation. A simple, confident response is enough. I chose this because it's right for me. And then you stop. No over-explaining, no backpedaling, no desperate attempt to soften your stance or make yourself more palatable to the other person. This economy of words is itself a statement of power. It says, I have thought about this. I have made my decision, and I am comfortable with that decision regardless of whether you understand it or agree with it. Consider how powerful it feels when someone says exactly this, a brief statement of their choice followed by silence. That silence carries tremendous weight. It communicates that the person does not need your validation to proceed. They have made their decision, and whether you agree is irrelevant to them. They are not looking for permission or approval. They are simply informing you of their choice and inviting you to either support them or step aside. This is the language of genuine confidence. When you speak this way consistently, people learn not to challenge you unnecessarily. They learn that you are not someone who will be swayed by their doubt or convinced by their skepticism. You are steady. You are sure, and that certainty is contagious. The silent message you send. Every time you explain yourself unnecessarily, you send a subtle but unmistakable message. I need your approval to feel okay. But every time you keep your response short and let your choice stand on its own, you send a far louder message. I do not need your permission. My worth is not contingent on your understanding. This is the essential difference between fragile confidence and dangerous confidence. Fragile confidence requires constant external validation. It is dependent on others' reactions, others' approval, others' agreement. Dangerous confidence is self-contained. It does not demand anything from anyone else. It simply exists, steady and unmovable.
The people around you will sense this difference immediately, even if they cannot articulate it. They will feel it in the way you carry yourself, in the tone of your voice, in the brevity and certainty of your responses. They will realize, consciously or unconsciously, that you are not someone who can be easily influenced or manipulated through social pressure or subtle rejection. This realization will change how they treat you. Some people may actually become upset when they realize that you are no longer seeking their approval. This is because they have become accustomed to having a certain level of influence over you. When that influence disappears, they may lash out or try to pull you back into the old dynamic. But if you stand firm, they will eventually adjust. And in many cases, they will actually respect you more for holding your ground. The most profound relationships are built on mutual respect, not on one person's dependency on another's approval.
A 7-day challenge and its transformative power. Here is a practical challenge for the next 7 days. Catch yourself in the moment when you are about to pile on excuses or lengthy explanations. The moment you feel that urge rising, stop, pause, breathe. Replace those words with something simple, firm, and direct. I can't make it. I've decided to go this way. That doesn't work for me. And then be silent. Let the silence do the work for you. Let it carry the weight of your confidence. Do not fill the space with apologies or soft language. Do not dilute your message with excessive pleasantries. Simply state your position and stop. You will notice that most people accept this and move on. 9 times out of 10, no further explanation is needed or even wanted. People are often satisfied with a clear answer, even if that answer is not the one they hoped for. What they respect is clarity. What they respect is directness. What they respect is someone who knows what they want and is not afraid to say it.
The discomfort of breaking old patterns. At first, this will feel deeply uncomfortable. You will feel a nearly irresistible urge to fill the space, to justify your words, to soften your stance and make yourself more agreeable. Your anxiety may spike. You may worry about how people will perceive you. You may second-guess your decision to stay silent. This discomfort is actually a sign that you are breaking an old pattern. Your nervous system has become accustomed to a certain way of operating, and when you change that pattern, your system protests. This is normal. This is actually healthy. The discomfort you feel is the friction created by transformation. It is the evidence that you are growing. With practice, consistent, deliberate practice, you will discover something truly life-changing. The less you explain, the stronger you feel. People begin to take you more seriously. Your own internal sense of power increases. More importantly, you begin to take yourself more seriously. You stop treating your own choices as if they require external validation. You stop doubting yourself because you have stopped seeking permission for your own life. This is where dangerous confidence begins, with this small but profoundly transformative shift. Stop explaining. Stop over-justifying. Trust your choices. Stand by your words. Because the moment you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone, you have already taken your first, most critical step toward becoming untouchable and truly powerful. The voice that speaks the most to you. If you want to become dangerously confident, you must start with the voice that speaks the most to you, the one that exists entirely inside your own head. This is the internal dialogue that runs constantly beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, narrating your life, judging your actions, and shaping your beliefs about yourself. This inner voice is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It is either building you up, reinforcing your strength and affirming your capabilities, or it is tearing you down, undermining your confidence, and convincing you of your limitations. And here's the thing most people never realize. The way you speak to yourself in private eventually shows up in how you show up in public. The conversations you have with yourself when no one is listening determine the conversations you have with others when everyone is watching. If your inner voice is constantly saying, "I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, people are probably judging me right now, I don't deserve this success," then consider how you will act when you walk into a room or face a challenge. You will be nervous, you will be hesitant, you will make yourself small, hoping to avoid scrutiny or criticism. Your body language will reflect your internal self-doubt. Your voice will be uncertain. Your decisions will be cautious and defensive. But if your inner voice says, "I can handle this. I've done harder things before. I'm exactly where I need to be. I am capable and worthy," then you walk into that same room, that same situation, with your head held higher. You are calmer. You are sharper. You are more decisive. Same person, different voice. And that difference changes everything about how the world responds to you.
Where confidence actually begins. Confidence does not start with applause, achievements, or attention from others. It does not begin with external validation or public recognition. It starts in your mind. It starts with the words you allow to echo inside your head, day after day, year after year. You cannot control what everyone says about you. You cannot prevent people from judging you, criticizing you, or misunderstanding you. But you can absolutely control what you repeat to yourself every single day. You can choose the words that become your internal truth. The mistake people make is waiting for life to validate them before they change that inner voice. They think, "Once I succeed, I'll feel confident. Once people respect me, I'll talk to myself better. Once I achieve my goals, then I can believe in myself." But it works the opposite way around. You do not wait for proof. You create proof. You start speaking to yourself like someone worthy of respect, worthy of success, worthy of love and belonging. And then your actions begin to follow that belief. Your behavior aligns with the narrative you have created. This is not fantasy or delusion. This is how the human mind actually works. Your brain is a prediction machine. It is always trying to anticipate what will happen next based on the story you are telling yourself. When you change that story, you change your predictions. When you change your predictions, you change your behaviors. When you change your behaviors, you change your results. This is the cascade of transformation that begins with mastering your inner voice. How your brain believes repetition. Here is the secret that few people understand. Your brain believes repetition. Whatever you repeat to yourself becomes your truth. Whatever narrative you play over and over becomes the operating system of your mind. Say you are weak long enough, and you will start to shrink into weakness. Your body will contract. Your voice will become quieter. Your decisions will become more timid. You will literally become weak because you have convinced yourself of it. But say you are capable, strong, and calm long enough, and you will start to rise to meet those words. Your posture will straighten. Your voice will find its power. Your decisions will become bolder. You will literally become stronger because you have embedded this belief into your nervous system. The inner voice is like a thermostat. It sets the temperature of your confidence. If it is set to low, you will always sink back down to that level, no matter how much outside success you taste, no matter how many compliments you receive. But if it is set to high, you will rise above challenges because you believe you belong at that level. You will recover from setbacks faster because you know they do not define you. You will take more risks because you trust yourself. This thermostat setting is entirely within your control. You can adjust it whenever you choose. You can raise it deliberately through the words you speak to yourself. And once you raise it, your entire life begins to operate at a higher frequency. Catching your inner dialogue in action. So how do you master this inner voice? Start by catching it in the act.
Pay attention to the quiet lines you whisper to yourself during the day. These moments are often so subtle that you do not even notice them consciously, but they are happening constantly. When you make a mistake, do you say, "I'm so stupid, I always mess things up"? Or do you say, "That's okay, I learned something, I'll do better next time"? When you look in the mirror, do you find every flaw, every imperfection, every way you do not match some impossible standard? Or do you remind yourself that you are showing up, you are improving, and you are worthy exactly as you are right now? When someone criticizes you, do you immediately accept it as truth about yourself? Or do you evaluate it thoughtfully and take what is useful while discarding what is not? These small moments seem insignificant, but they shape everything. They shape how you feel about yourself. They shape the choices you make. They shape the results you get in life. The goal is not fake positivity or toxic positivity, where you deny reality or pretend everything is perfect. Dangerous confidence is not about lying to yourself or engaging in delusion. It is about speaking with strength, even when things are not perfect. It is about choosing words that build, not words that destroy. It is about acknowledging difficulty while maintaining belief in your ability to overcome it.
Reframing your relationship with challenges. For example, instead of saying, "I can't handle this, this is too much, I'm overwhelmed," you say, "This is hard, but I'll figure it out. I've handled difficult things before. I'm capable of more than I think." Instead of saying, "I always fail, nothing ever works out for me, I'm just unlucky," you say, "Every setback teaches me something that makes me stronger." Failure is feedback, not a final verdict. This subtle shift in language changes your entire relationship with challenges, criticism, and rejection. When you start directing your inner voice deliberately instead of letting it run wild on autopilot, you will notice something powerful. You will stop reacting so harshly to challenges, criticism, and rejection. Why? Because your mind is already trained to back you up. It becomes your strongest ally instead of your worst critic. Instead of your inner voice amplifying your fear, it soothes your anxiety. Instead of it magnifying your doubt, it reinforces your belief. Instead of it telling you that you are not enough, it reminds you of times you have succeeded, times you have overcome, times you have proven yourself capable. This is the protective power of a well-trained inner voice. It acts as a buffer between you and the harsh judgments of the world. But more importantly, it acts as a shield against your own harsh self-judgment, which is often far more damaging than anything anyone else could say. A 30-day challenge for transformation. Let me give you a challenge that can genuinely transform your life. For the next 30 days, every single morning, tell yourself 3 things out loud. Actually speak the words, do not just think them. Speaking them activates different neural pathways than merely thinking them. Say, "I respect myself. I can handle anything that comes today. I don't need anyone's approval to move forward." It may feel awkward at first. You may feel ridiculous standing in front of the mirror saying these things. This awkwardness is completely normal. You are not accustomed to treating yourself with this level of respect and affirmation. But I guarantee you, if you do this consistently for 30 days, your entire energy will shift. Your body will begin to carry these words. Watch how your posture changes in conversations. Watch how your energy transforms when you face obstacles. Watch how you walk into situations differently. Watch how people respond to you differently. The change will be undeniable. Your inner voice is the foundation of your confidence. Master it, and you will not just appear confident, you will feel it in your bones. You will not need to fake it or perform it. It will be real, integrated, and unshakable. And once you feel it, once you truly embody it, no one can take it from you. Because here is the deepest truth. Confidence is not what happens when others believe in you. Confidence is what happens when you believe in yourself first. And that belief always begins with the voice inside your head, the voice that speaks to you more than any other voice ever will. The essential truth about self-respect. Every kind of lasting confidence starts with one simple but profound truth that most people overlook in their quest for quick fixes and superficial self-esteem. You cannot feel powerful if you do not respect yourself first. Respect is the foundation. Without it, confidence is nothing more than an act, a mask you wear to convince others, while deep down you are still unsure of your worth. You are performing strength while feeling weakness. You are pretending certainty while harboring doubt. This facade might fool people for a while, but it will never fool you. And more importantly, it will never give you the lasting sense of power that comes from genuine self-respect. But when you build real, authentic self-respect, not through arrogance or superiority, but through honoring yourself and your values, confidence stops being an act. It stops being something you have to manufacture or maintain. It becomes who you are. It becomes integrated into your being. It radiates naturally from how you move, how you speak, how you make decisions, and how you treat yourself and others. This is the kind of confidence that cannot be taken away because it is not dependent on external circumstances. It is rooted in something deeper, your own respect for yourself. Think about how you treat people you genuinely respect. You listen to them carefully. You value their time and do not waste it. You trust their decisions and do not second-guess them. You speak to them with kindness, but also with honesty. You protect their well-being and honor their boundaries. You show up for them consistently. Now ask yourself, honestly, do you treat yourself the same way? Or do you cut yourself down constantly with harsh internal criticism? Do you ignore your own needs because you are too busy trying to be what others want? Do you allow people to cross your boundaries because deep down you do not see yourself as worthy of protection? Do you break promises to yourself while keeping them for others? How you treat yourself sets the standard for how the world treats you. This is not mystical or spiritual, it is psychological and practical. People are observant. They pick up on subtle signals about how you value yourself. If you disrespect your own time, canceling plans with yourself, or constantly being late for your own appointments, others will disrespect your time as well. They will learn that your time is not valuable enough to respect. If you speak poorly to yourself, criticizing yourself harshly, or engaging in negative self-talk, you will tolerate others speaking to you the same way. You will not have the internal reference point that says, "This treatment is unacceptable." If you do not set boundaries for yourself, if you do not say no to things that drain you or undermine your values, you will struggle to set boundaries with others. You will not have the internal authority to enforce them. But when you start showing yourself respect, when you hold yourself to a higher standard, when you treat your own time and energy as sacred, people around you sense it immediately. They respond differently. They raise their game. They treat you with more care because they see that you care about yourself. This is not arrogance. This is not self-centeredness. This is actually the most generous thing you can do for your relationships because it teaches people how to treat you with dignity. And that is where dangerous confidence begins to take shape. It is in the space between how you treat yourself and how others treat you. When those two things align, when you respect yourself and others respect you in return, that is when true power emerges. The daily choices that build self-respect. Self-respect does not come from big, dramatic achievements. It does not come from accomplishing something monumental or receiving public recognition. Self-respect is built through small, daily choices that tell your mind consistently and repeatedly, "I matter. My well-being matters. My word matters. My values matter." These choices are often invisible to others, but they are everything to your own internal sense of integrity.
When you wake up early because you said you would, even when no one is watching and no one will ever know, that is respect. When you keep a promise to yourself to exercise, to read, to work on your dreams, you are building respect. When you walk away from a toxic conversation instead of staying to win approval or prove your point, that is respect. When you set a boundary and hold it, even when someone tries to manipulate you or make you feel guilty, that is respect. When you admit when you are wrong and make amends, that is respect. When you choose integrity over convenience, that is respect. Each one of these choices may look small on the outside. A single act of self-respect might seem insignificant in isolation, but together, accumulated over days, weeks, and months, they create something powerful. The deep, unshakable, fundamental feeling that you can trust yourself. And once you trust yourself, confidence flows naturally. It is not something you have to manufacture or work up. It simply exists because you have proven to yourself, through your actions, that you are trustworthy. You keep your commitments. You honor your values. You do not abandon yourself when things get difficult. This is the bedrock upon which all lasting confidence is built.
The connection between self-respect and confidence. Here is the key that unlocks this entire process. Respect yourself first, and the world has no choice but to adjust. You no longer beg for recognition because you already know your worth. You no longer explain or prove your value to everyone because you do not need external validation to feel secure. You know it. And because you know it in your bones, in the core of your being, others see it. They feel it. They respond to it. This is not about being mean or dismissive. It is not about being cold or uncaring. It is about carrying yourself with the quiet certainty that comes from self-respect. It is about moving through the world as someone who values themselves, and therefore implicitly someone who values others as well. When you respect yourself, you are able to respect others authentically. When you do not respect yourself, you either become a doormat, constantly seeking approval, or you become arrogant, trying to force others to give you the respect you do not give yourself. But when you genuinely respect yourself, you can afford to be generous, kind, and considerate to others because you are not coming from a place of scarcity or desperation. You are not trying to extract respect from others. You are simply offering respect because it is the right way to be. And paradoxically, this generosity, this strength, this willingness to honor both yourself and others is what draws people toward you. It is what makes people want to be around you. It is what creates genuine, lasting relationships based on mutual respect rather than on dependence or manipulation. Building respect through small acts of integrity. So if you want to build confidence that lasts, do not start with fake pep talks or affirmations that do not feel true to you. Start with respect. Start with the way you talk to yourself when you make a mistake. Instead of self-flagellation, practice self-compassion while maintaining accountability. Start with the way you carry yourself. Do you walk with your head down, trying to be invisible? Or do you walk with the awareness that you deserve to take up space? Start with the way you hold yourself to a higher standard, not a perfectionist standard that is impossible to meet, but a standard that reflects your values and your commitment to yourself. Every morning, you can choose to show yourself respect through small actions. You can choose to eat food that nourishes your body rather than just comforting your emotions. You can choose to move your body in ways that feel good. You can choose to protect your sleep because you respect your need for rest. You can choose to engage with people who lift you up and distance yourself from those who drain you. You can choose to spend your time on things that matter to you rather than just on things that are urgent.
These are not big, dramatic choices. They are the daily, mundane choices that build self-respect. And they are the foundation upon which dangerous confidence is built. Each small choice is a vote for yourself. Each small act of respect is a brick in the wall of your self-worth. Over time, these bricks accumulate into a fortress that cannot be easily shaken.
The invisible cage of approval seeking. One of the biggest traps that steals confidence and keeps people imprisoned in a cage of their own making is the constant, often unconscious need for approval. You know what I mean, that itch inside your chest, that voice in your head that asks constantly, do they like me? Do they agree with me? Am I good enough in their eyes? What are they thinking about me right now? It is subtle, it is quiet, but it controls so many people's entire lives without them even realizing it. This need for approval manifests in countless ways, most of them invisible to the outside world. They dress not for themselves, but for what others might say about their appearance. They curate their social media posts not to share authentically, but to be validated through likes and comments. They chase compliments, desperately collecting them like currency. They avoid criticism at all costs, sometimes sacrificing their own integrity to prevent someone from disapproving of them. They feel crushed when someone does not clap for them, when someone disagrees with them, or when they fall short of someone else's expectations. Their entire emotional state becomes dependent on the reactions of others. One moment, people are cheering for them, and they feel on top of the world. The next moment, people are criticizing them, and they feel like a complete failure. This is the trap of approval seeking. It is a prison where you are both the inmate and the jailer. You have locked yourself in and thrown away the... Why approval-dependent confidence is fragile. Here is the problem with building your confidence on approval. When your confidence depends on approval, it will always be fragile. It will always be unstable. It will always be at the mercy of forces outside your control. Approval can be given, and approval can be taken away. This is the fundamental reality you must face. One moment, people are cheering for you, celebrating your success, telling you how amazing you are. But the next moment, and it can happen that quickly, they are criticizing you, judging you, or turning their attention elsewhere. Your phone might blow up with messages of support one day and go silent the next. Someone who was your biggest cheerleader can become your harshest critic based on a single misunderstanding or a shift in their own circumstances. And if your self-worth rises and falls with their reactions, if your confidence depends on their approval, then you will live like a puppet pulled by strings you cannot control. Someone else holds those strings. Someone else decides when you feel good about yourself. Someone else determines your emotional state through their approval or disapproval. This is a form of slavery, even if you do not recognize it as such. You have voluntarily given away your power. The truth is simple but profound. No one in this world owes you approval. Not your parents, not your friends, not your colleagues, not your romantic partners, not society. No one. And more importantly, no one's opinion should have the power to define you, to shake you, or to determine your sense of worth. The freedom that comes from killing the need. When you kill the need for approval, and I mean truly kill it, not just pretend to kill it, you free yourself. You liberate yourself from one of the most insidious forms of imprisonment. You stop chasing applause and start focusing on living with authenticity. You stop bending your life to fit other people's expectations and start building a life that feels right to you, that aligns with your values, that reflects who you actually are rather than who you think you should be. You stop performing for an audience and start living for yourself. This is where dangerous confidence comes from.
It does not come from being liked by all. It does not come from never being criticized. It does not come from universal approval. It comes from being at peace with yourself, from knowing that you are living according to your own standards, your own values, your own vision. And paradoxically, this is also when people begin to respect you more, because people can feel the difference between someone who is performing for approval and someone who is simply being themselves. There is an energy to authenticity that is magnetic. There is a power to someone who is not trying to convince you of their worth. There is a strength to someone who does not need your validation. People are drawn to this. People respect this. Think about the people you admire the most. Are they the ones who are constantly trying to please everyone, constantly seeking approval, constantly bending themselves to fit different situations? Or are they the ones who stand firm, who are unapologetic about who they are, who respect you enough to be honest, even when honesty is uncomfortable? It is always the second group. It is always the people who are not dependent on your approval that command the most respect.
The distinction between appreciation and dependence. Now, let me be absolutely clear about something important. There is nothing wrong with enjoying praise. There is nothing wrong with being happy when someone appreciates your work, your effort, or your presence. There is nothing wrong with valuing the respect and admiration of people you care about. The problem does not come from appreciation. The problem comes when you need it. The problem comes when you depend on it to feel valuable. The problem comes when you organize your life around getting approval from others. The moment you need approval, you hand over your power. You give other people the remote control to your emotions. You allow them to determine your internal state. You make them responsible for your well-being. And let me tell you from observation and from human nature itself, people change channels fast. What they approve of today, they may criticize tomorrow. What they valued last year, they may have completely different feelings about this year. Trends shift, opinions change. People grow and evolve, and sometimes they evolve away from the values or choices they once supported. If your confidence is riding on their approval, you are riding on very unstable ground. But if your confidence is based on your own integrity, your own values, your own sense of what is right, then you are standing on solid ground. That ground does not shift. That ground does not change based on someone else's mood or opinion or evolution. That ground is yours. That ground is permanent. Practical steps to kill the need for approval. So how do you kill this need for approval? How do you break free from this invisible cage? Start small. Start where you are. Practice saying no without explaining. Practice making decisions based on what you know is right for you, even if others will not understand, even if they will disagree, even if they will judge you. Start with small decisions where the stakes are not too high. Maybe it is declining a social invitation because you want to rest. Maybe it is choosing a career path that excites you, even though your family has different expectations. Maybe it is sharing an opinion that you believe in, even though you know not everyone will agree. Each time you make a choice based on your own values rather than on anticipated approval, you strengthen your internal compass. You build the muscle of independence. You remind yourself that you can survive disapproval. You can live without someone's approval. You can be okay even when someone is upset with you. Remind yourself daily, consciously, deliberately, their approval is optional. My self-respect is not. Write this down, say it out loud, tattoo it on your mind, because this is the core belief that will set you free. Their approval is optional. It is nice to have. It is pleasant. It is not necessary. Your self-respect, on the other hand, is non-negotiable. It is essential. It is the foundation of your life.
and you will not compromise it for anyone's approval.
The respect that comes from not needing approval. You will notice something powerful when you stop chasing approval. At first, some people will not like it. They might call you arrogant. They might say you are selfish or stubborn or difficult. They might try to pull you back into the old dynamic where you sought their validation. But stay steady. Stay the course. Because in time, often sooner than you expect, those same people will begin to respect you more than they ever did when you were bending for their acceptance. Why? Because here's a truth about human psychology. People may enjoy it when you seek their approval. It makes them feel important. It gives them a sense of power over you. But they admire it when you do not need it. They respect the person who does not need their validation, the one who moves forward with or without approval, the one who lives as though they already have everything they need inside. And that can be you. The day you stop chasing approval, you step into a new kind of freedom. You stop reacting to every comment, every look, every bit of criticism that comes your way. You start living on your own terms. You start making decisions based on your own judgment. You start moving through life with a certainty that is not dependent on anyone else's opinion. That is when people notice you. Not because you ask them to, not because you are performing or trying to be impressive, but because they cannot ignore someone who does not need their validation, someone who is simply being themselves, someone who is at peace, someone who is free. And that right there is dangerous confidence in its purest form. It is the confidence of someone who has nothing to prove and everything to offer.
Silence as a form of strength. One of the greatest signs of true confidence is not how loud you can be, not how much you can dominate a conversation, not how sharply you can respond to a challenge. Rather, it is how quiet you can remain. Most people operate under a fundamental misunderstanding about what strength actually looks like. They believe strength is about having the last word, about showing everyone how smart you are, how quick your wit is, how superior your intellect might be. They believe strength is about winning every argument, about proving your point beyond any shadow of doubt, about making sure everyone knows that you are right and they are wrong. But true strength is often the opposite of this. True strength is the ability to stay calm, to stay silent, to remain unmoved when others are trying to provoke you. True strength is the ability to refrain from reacting to every emotional stimulation, to resist the urge to defend yourself in every moment, and to not be pulled into every emotional battle that someone tries to drag you into. Think about it carefully. How often do people lose their power because they could not keep quiet? Someone criticizes them, and they snap back immediately, unable to resist the urge to defend themselves. Someone disrespects them, and they explode, unable to contain their anger. Someone challenges them, and they rush to defend themselves, unable to resist proving their worth. In that moment, they think they are showing strength. They think they are demonstrating their power and their superiority, but really they are showing that their emotions are in control. They are showing that they can be manipulated through provocation. They are showing that they can be pushed off balance by external stimuli. And when your emotions control you, when you are reactive rather than responsive, your power is gone. Your authority disappears. You have handed control over to the other person. The disarming power of silence. Silence, on the other hand, is disarming. It is unsettling. It is powerful. When people expect a reaction and you give them nothing, they do not know how to handle it. They do not have a script for it. Their usual tactics do not work. They push and you do not move. They attack and you stay steady. They insult and you simply observe, unmoved. That is what makes silence powerful. It shows that you are not easily shaken. It demonstrates that you cannot be manipulated through standard emotional triggers. It proves that you are in control of yourself. There is a reason that the most powerful people in history often spoke less than those around them.
There is a reason that great leaders tend to be thoughtful and measured rather than reactive and emotional. There is a reason that the people who command the most respect are often the ones who are not quick to respond, who take time before speaking, who do not fill every silence with nervous chatter. It is because silence communicates confidence. Silence communicates certainty. Silence communicates that you are not desperate to be heard, not anxious to defend yourself, not needing to prove anything to anyone. When someone tries to provoke you and you respond with silence, you are saying something far more powerful than any words could say. You are saying, "Your words do not penetrate me. Your attempts to shake me do not work. I am steady. I am unmoved." This is terrifying to people who are accustomed to getting reactions. This is what makes you dangerous, because you have removed their primary tool of control, your emotional reactivity.
Understanding silence as a choice, not weakness. Now, let us be absolutely clear about something crucial. Silence does not mean weakness. It does not mean you let people walk all over you, abuse you, or take advantage of you. It does not mean you become a doormat who accepts disrespect. It does not mean you abandon your own defense or your own boundaries. Rather, it means you choose your responses carefully. It means you refuse to waste energy on pointless battles. It means you refuse to give people the satisfaction of a reaction when they are clearly trying to provoke one. When you respond with silence instead of raw, uncontrolled emotion, you buy yourself time to think. You give yourself space to assess the situation. You give yourself the opportunity to decide if the situation even deserves your attention and your energy. Is this something worth engaging with? Is this someone worth responding to? Is this a battle worth fighting? Or is this just noise? Just someone trying to get under your skin because they are insecure or hurt themselves? When you pause before responding, when you create that space between stimulus and response, you regain your power. You move from being reactive to being responsive. You move from being at the mercy of your emotions to being in command of them. And that shift is everything.
The strategic use of silence in interaction. There is another layer to the power of silence that most people miss. Silence not only protects your power, it also makes your words stronger when you finally choose to speak. If you speak constantly, if you talk endlessly, if you fill every silence with noise, people tune you out. Your words become background noise. They do not register as important. But if you speak less, if you only speak when you have something meaningful to say, if you deliver your words with calm authority and then stop, people listen. They know you do not waste words. They know that if you are speaking, it means something. They know that your words have weight because you do not throw them around carelessly. That is how leaders talk. That is how confident people carry themselves. That is how you command a room without ever raising your voice. Think about the difference between someone who talks constantly and someone who speaks rarely but with impact. The constant talker is often dismissed. People stop listening. The rare speaker commands attention. People lean in. People respect what they have to say because it is clearly chosen carefully. This is the power of economy of words. This is the power of strategic silence combined with intentional speech. Practicing silence in daily life. So, how can you practice this in your daily life? Start by noticing your triggers. Pay attention to the moments when you feel your emotions boiling beneath the surface. When someone criticizes you, when they disagree with you, when they mock you or challenge you. That is the moment when you feel the urge to react. That is the moment when you want to defend yourself, to prove your point, to show them that they are wrong. That is the moment when your emotional system is activated. When you notice that moment, that is your signal to pause. Do not rush to react. Breathe. Let silence do the work for you.
9 times out of 10, you will realize that you do not even need to respond. The moment will pass, the person will move on, and you will have maintained your power. And in the rare times you do need to respond, your response will come from strength, not impulse. Your response will come from clarity, not emotion. Your response will come from a place of control rather than from a place of being controlled. You do not owe everyone a reaction. You do not have to defend yourself every time someone questions you. You do not have to fight every little battle that someone tries to drag you into. You do not have to engage with every provocation. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing at all. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response. Sometimes the greatest victory is the one where you simply refuse to play the game.
Silence as your most valuable tool. Silence is not empty. It is full of power. It is full of potential. It is full of your own authority. Think about how this changes the way people see you. The person who reacts emotionally to everything is predictable. They are easy to control. You know which buttons to push to get a reaction. You know which words will make them defensive. You know which actions will trigger them. But the person who can stay silent, calm, and unbothered, that person is dangerous because you cannot predict them. You cannot push them around. You cannot get under their skin. You cannot break their focus. You cannot manipulate them through emotional triggers because they do not react to triggers. They simply observe. They simply choose. Dangerous confidence is not in shouting louder than others. It is not in winning every argument or proving your point in every situation. It is in standing tall while others shout at you and you do not move. It is in choosing silence when others expect a storm. It is in showing that your emotions belong to you, not to anyone else. Your emotions are not for public consumption. Your reactions are not open to being triggered by external events. You are the master of your own emotional state. You are the one who decides when and how you respond. And when people realize this about you, when they understand that you cannot be provoked, that you cannot be manipulated, that you cannot be rattled, they treat you differently. They respect you differently. They fear you a little bit, not because you are dangerous in a harmful way, but because you are unpredictable and uncontrollable. And that is a form of power that very few people possess. The next time someone tries to pull you into their drama, the next time someone tries to provoke you, the next time someone tries to get a reaction from you, remember this: silence is your shield. Silence is your strength. Silence is your power. Use it, and you will discover just how unshakable you can be. Use it, and you will find that you have access to a form of power that most people spend their entire lives searching for without ever finding it.